Ramonda, I'm going to tell you the truth about something. I am worried about our seniors. I'm worried about their isolation and their loneliness and people talking about elderly people like they're disposable. What are you seeing?
Uh, I guess in looking at the media and some of the messaging that's kind of coming across, it is concerning. But I also see the flip side of just seeing a lot of generosity and a lot of people calling our agency to see how they can help. And they're wanting to make phone calls, they're wanting to help deliver food. And I think it's important to just accentuate these positive behaviors and these kind of positive outreach to our older adults in our community because they really do matter. It's in our name. We're paying homage to our older adults in the community, and we really want to kind of um, get that mindset away from, let's just open everything back up and, if a few, older folks die, then that's just a way of doing business. And that's not the way of doing business. I believe our business is caring and we need to be an example of that.
Put me in the shoes of the elderly right now and seniors and people who are living alone, not to accentuate the negative, but just so that we understand if we don't have an older person in our life, we might not understand the challenges that they're experiencing right now or the food insecurity, that kind of thing. Can you run me through what the experience is for many of your clients?
The experience for many of our clients is literally not leaving their home for weeks on end. And it's fear of losing your life. And they are, going without food. They are going without their prescriptions at times. They're not sure where to turn to get the services that they need. And that's, I mean, I really, some people, they're like, well, I'm younger and I go out the door and I'm just going to get a little sick. But imagine if you were to go out the door and you're going to lose your life. And that's a tremendous amount of fear. And I just can't imagine that and then many of our older adults who are not seeing their family, their grandchildren, they're missing hugs, they're missing that kinship and a tremendous amount of isolation. And I don't, to be good to get that out to individuals to try to understand that feeling.
There's not only this fear of dying, but a fear of dying alone without your
Yes.
family.
And that's happening. I mean, older adults are being found in their apartments. They're in the hospital having to pass away alone because their loved ones aren't even admitted to come inside. And that's just heartbreaking to see that happening to our community and our elders. So I mean, I don't know if there's any way to get the message out there that we need to do whatever it takes. And that's what the kind of, the governor's been saying is we need to do whatever it takes to try to assist and get our elders through this.
We've been hearing stories about people in assisted living who are locked into their rooms for safety. Um, Seniors, as you described, who may not go out and buy groceries even though they need them because they feel like they're under such an existential threat. And I'm wondering, as we go through this and we go forward, what needs to change about the way we have our seniors living? Should they be in these congregate areas? Should they be alone and isolated? How do we come up with a better system to take care of them?
Oh, now that is a, a big question to ask, Margaret. But I think we could do it together. And there's got to be a way where we can still find connection. Because, like you said, folks are feeling this extreme isolation in some of the assisted living and skilled nursing due to just really trying to mitigate the spread. Folks are having to stay in their rooms alone. Is just like I said, as community, we come together and we bring solutions as a community, because we still need to give connections to our older adults. And maybe we just got to be able to find those solutions. Is it extra phone calls? If they're having to shelter in place in their rooms in order to stay safe and to save their life, then we need to find ways to still reach them and know that they are cared for, and that it matters what happens to them. And I think as a community, we need to do that.
And then on the flip side, we have people living in such close proximity in senior living homes that when a virus is introduced to that environment, it
Yes,
rages through there like wildfire.
yes.
Do we have to change that? Deal with it differently?
Yes, I do agree
How
with
do we do
that.
that?
And now I know it's going to take some consultation with, you know, the department, our local Department of Health, and our directors of our skilled nursing facilities to find ways to help mitigate the spread in these community living group quarter type situations, where you're right, there's a community room, there's lots of shared spaces, even, you know, folks are dining together. And how do we make the places safe? Because I believe that even in Snohomish County, there was several assisted living and skilled nursing facilities that had COVID-19 cases, and they were spreading quite rapidly. So I know they're on it. I know the area agency on aging, our local area agency on aging, is definitely taking notes of all this and doing what they can and try to brainstorm ways to address those issues.
But it does seem to you like as we go forward, we have to change the way we do this.
I think I would probably have to agree. There's definitely going to need to be changes there. And I think changes throughout our community, even outside of these groups living situations, of how we maybe sanitize, how folks gather. I think that's all going to be changed.
You guys have,
Long term.
you guys, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You think things will change over the long term. Tell me a bit about that, why you think that.
Well, I just think it's going to be more of a permanent change. Like, it'll be a change, but it's going to be something that may need to stay in effect, of maybe how our seniors are, like I said, the dining hall, instead of 100, would be maybe half, and splitting the times of where people gather, and there be more social distancing practices in these places. Like I said, I know that the county Snohomish County is definitely on it, and they are being quite aware and knowing that they're going to have to look at maybe some these changes in these assisted living and nursing facilities.
Do you know whether Medicare covers the cost of a COVID test? If a senior wants a test, can they get one somehow?
If it's ordered, I kind of was looking a little bit into that with a colleague of mine with CMS, and if it's ordered by their physician, looks like it is covered. I think if they, and it's seems to be not too difficult to get that, but if they are having trouble if they're wanting to get a test and their physician's not ordering it, and they're concerned about the cost of that test, they can also give us a call on our resource line, and perhaps we could find some resources in the community where they can go and perhaps get that covered. So I do understand that CMS has their regulations as far as covering the cost, but we do have a resource line, and we do what we can to assist the senior if they're wanting to get tested.
If your best friend called you today and said, my mom's 64, she's been in a group home, she can't be by herself, whatever the circumstance is, what should I do? How would you advise her about how to take care of an elder?
Well, I would advise her into really having good communication with the group home or adult family home where her mom is staying, and keeping not communication with her, but also again with the staff, and really saying, look, I would like to know your practices. How are you keeping the group home safe for the residents that live there, and if there's any practices or any concerns that, if this was my best friend that you might be having of the treatment and care of your mother, definitely reach out to the ombudsman program. And if they definitely would look into, if there's any concerns of your mom's safety or her care, the ombudsman is there and they will be an advocate for your mom and for you. So,
It sounds like we need to advocate more vigorously or be really careful about what's happening with our elders right now. We can't just assume it's all cool.
oh, no, we cannot. And this is going to need to be a diligent effort, not only for Homage, because we are definitely busy and making a diligent effort, but we really want to be able to draw in community. And when I'm on community calls, I'm saying, hey, this is Ramonda from Homage, and don't forget about our older adults, kind of faring through this crisis.
Would you say, we're talking to other people today and we're sort of thinking about this as almost like a 9/11 or a World War II. Things are just going to be different afterwards in terms of how we do things. We're not just going to go back to the way things were without a care in the world, and that will include seniors. Is that your thought as well?
That is my thought, most definitely. I think, we will, it's going to be a paradigm shift of how we consider our community and consider our elders, and really helping them fare through not only COVID, but even flu or pneumonia or other diseases to really ensure that they're safeguarded and that, that they're safe. And we're just doing all we can to care for them. I hope to see that be a community effort.
You're no doubt talking to people who miss their grandkids a lot. What can we as children of those adults and parents of those grandchildren to mitigate this? Because it is hard on the kids and it's hard on the grandparents.
Oh, and it is, and they miss hugs and kisses from grandma and pop, and what we can do is, if they're able to kind of talk, just how to do a video Zoom link and say, okay, just press the link, just you got it to talk to them.
Yeah.
Just the kids really enjoy Zoom and kind of that video conferencing, just to FaceTime. They could even play games or even watch a movie. I think I had one grandma tell me she watched a movie with her grandson through kind of the video link. And it was just enjoyable to spend that time kind of just making comments about the movie for, a couple of hours, and finding those ways, even a phone call. And I know the young kids, they, talking on the phone is not their thing, but just encouraging them to really take time to really just talk and hang out over the phone for a little bit. And I think
There are things that the rest of us can do. If I just want to volunteer, I want to help somehow, what could I do to make a senior's life better?
I think a lot of, like, currently, as far as Homage, we're not currently bringing on volunteers, but there's other agencies in the community that are. The food banks are just overloaded with, needing to get food out to older adults and getting those deliveries. There's places, churches are doing lots of activities to assist with older adults. And I do definitely encourage folks to go out and see what the opportunities are out there. And we, like I said, we've been kind of getting folks connected to those opportunities. If they call us, we just let them know what other places in the community they can go to volunteer.
Well, maybe if there's any kind of silver lining, not that anyone would want any of this to have happened, maybe we'll be more mindful about what's happening to our elders.
I really hope so. And I think that's what we're striving to do. And I just even appreciate this segment because it really brings it to light that to be more mindful and, to increase that care for our older adult community. And again, paying them homage, hence Homage.
And they deserve it.
Yes.
They've earned that.
They most definitely have. We are reaping the rewards of their years of hard work to bring us to where we are today.
Ramonda, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Margaret. It's so good to talk with you again.
It's nice to talk to you again, too, and I imagine we will again.
Oh, well, great. Well, I look forward to it.